Marty! You've got to come back with me!
Where?
Back to the future!
We realize that 2018's just started, but we're just bursting at the seams with enthusiasm for these as of yet vague and nebulous future feature films. So here are 10 of the biggest movies we are most looking forward to in 2019. Captain Marvel. Captain Marvel, no, not that one, is the Marvel Cinematic Universe's first female-led film. After failing to beat DC to that particular punch, Marvel has decided to lay back and let the Avengers Infinity War do all the introducing, and presumably allow Captain Marvel's solo outing to tell its own strong story, unburdened by the need to explain her origins. Expectations are high for Marvel's first female-led superhero movie, but if anyone can pull off superheroes on the big screen, it's these guys, so expect at the very least a good movie. Captain Marvel will star Brie Larson as the eponymous Captain, plus Samuel L. Jackson and Jude Law, among others, in supporting roles. The Irishman. The Irishman is Martin Scorsese's upcoming project about a labor union official's involvement in the murder of Jimmy Hoffa. Information is still a bit thin on the ground, but we can tell you that this film stars Robert De Niro as the aforementioned union official and Al Pacino as Hoffa. The supporting cast includes Joe Pesci, Anna Paquin, Ray Romano, and Harvey Keitel. The cast and crew have been billed as an all-star reunion of Scorsese's collaborators, so we can expect a well-written, well-shot, and well-edited extravaganza of gangsters and Italian accents, the film's name notwithstanding. Production did run into a bit of trouble when its main financier, Fabbrica del Cine, dropped out of the movie due to its climbing costs, causing Paramount to drop its distribution rights. Fortunately, Netflix was interested and agreed to pick up the tab and distribute the movie. It Chapter 2. Continuing Hollywood's tradition of unnecessarily dividing books into several movies, It Chapter 2 is the continuation of, wait for it, It Chapter 1. Against all odds, the first one actually managed to be a good adaptation of a Stephen King book. Looking at you, Dark Tower. So with that in mind, we're optimistic for this one. Expect more killer clown, clueless kids, and most importantly, closure. Taking into account that this movie takes place 27 years after the first one, you can expect to see grown-up versions of the losers and possibly older versions of the rest of the supporting cast. Glass. After the shock that was last year's decent M. Night Shyamalan movie, the man is going to try it again, presumably having never heard the saying about lightning striking twice. This is the film that is supposed to tie together with his two previous allegedly superhero movies, Unbreakable and Split, thus forming a coherent trilogy. In the end, expecting coherence from Mr. Shyamalan may be a little too much, so we should probably lower our bar to entertaining. Starring everyone from Unbreakable and Split, plus some other guys you've probably never heard of. Godzilla King of Monsters. So, another Godzilla movie. You'd think the radioactive lizard would be sick and tired of invading the surface and not actually accomplishing anything, but no, here he comes again. What is there to say? Godzilla and a cornucopia of iconic enemies, namely Mothra, Rodan, and King Ghidorah, beat the crap out of each other while laying waste to human cities. After 2014's lukewarm Godzilla, Kong Skull Island was actually pretty good and piqued our interest about the crossover with its stinger. Hopefully this one will follow Kong more closely and will be a welcome addition to the Monsterverse. Starring Vera Farmiga, Ken Watanabe, and Sally Hawkins as 3 doctors, plus Bradley Whitford as another doctor. As we can see, a highly qualified movie. The New Mutants. And another superhero movie. As an aside, 6 movies in and we have 3 superhero flicks. I'll make a prediction right here and say this is probably not the last one. Only time will tell if I'm right. So, The New Mutants. Even though this film is intended to be a part of the X-Men series, it forgoes Professor X's prized pupils this time around for, and stop me if you've heard this before, a bunch of misfits held in a secret facility against their will who will fight their way out, learning much and atoning for past sins along the way. Originality in its purest essence, starring a bunch of kids who look like they just came from the Mickey Mouse Club, plus Alice Braga. The movie apparently didn't do too well with test audiences, especially comparing to recent horror flicks like It, so it was pushed back to 2019 for reshoots and to avoid direct competition with Deadpool 2. See? I told you there'd be more. Suicide Squad 2. I'm really at a loss for words regarding this movie. The good news is that after the first one, the only way is up, so again, we're cautiously optimistic. Information is still pretty thin on the ground for this one as well. We know Gavin O'Connor is slated to direct, we know the Fresh Prince will be back as Deadshot, and that's pretty much all the solid information we have. Apparently, Mel Gibson was in the running for director at some point. Now that would have been something to see. I'm thinking like, The Passion of the Joker. God, the possibilities. Avengers Infinity War 2. Oh look, another one. So, what can you say about this one? Not much, really, except it'll be big, showy, and it'll make slightly more money than God. Will it actually be good? We certainly hope so. This series is starting to take a kitchen sink approach to filmmaking, so it'll probably be quite messy. But if there is anything Marvel has shown it can do, it's messy and highly entertaining. Starring everyone and their dog, and directed by the Russo brothers, famous for their work on Arrested Development. And by the way, if you've never seen Arrested Development, drop everything and go watch it now. Star Wars Episode 9. So, Luke and Carrie Fisher are dead, the First Order has the upper hand, and Kylo Ren still hasn't stopped listening to those old My Chemical Romance albums. It all sounds oddly familiar, but then again, what doesn't nowadays? Oh, spoiler alert, by the way. I'm guessing our heroes will go on some sort of journey to blow up a hitherto unknown superweapon, all the while meeting some cute critters along the way who turn out to be quite fierce fighters. The usual suspects, Rey, Finn, and Poe will be back, and John Williams is also back as a composer, which means at least the music will be top-notch. The director's reins will go back to Mr. J.J. Lensflare Abrams. Helter Skelter. What do we know about this movie so far? It's set in 1969 against the backdrop of the Manson murders, and it stars Leonardo DiCaprio as a TV actor trying to make it in Hollywood. Margot Robbie is also rumored to be playing Sharon Tate, Roman Polanski's murdered wife. We all know what to expect from Tarantino. Interestingly weird characters, well-written dialogue, and intriguing stories. Mr. Tarantino has consistently proven himself to be one of the best filmmakers out there, so fingers crossed for this one. So, these are our most anticipated movies of 2019. What do you think? Did we miss some of yours? Drop us a line in the comments to let us know. Also, if you liked this video, don't forget to subscribe for more. Till next time!